Gideon Gwaza Orkar was a major in the Nigerian Army. In April 1990, Orkar and his co-conspirators seized the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria (FRCN) Lagos in their effort to remove General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida from office. In the coup broadcast that followed in the early hours of that morning, Gideon Orkar gave a number of reasons why the army has decided to make the change. He went on to announce that 5 northern states are no longer part of Nigeria until certain conditions are met. In this edition of Hispu Media, I will take you back in time and examine the full text of the failed Gideon Orkar coup of April 22, 1990. Welcome to this edition of Hispu Media. Gabriel here. Gideon Gwaza Orkar started his officer cadet training at the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna with the 12th Regular Combatant Course. He was commissioned in December 1974 in the rank of the 2nd Lieutenant. Orkar was one of a few officers who were not comfortable with the leadership of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. He and his like-minded colleagues took arms against the regime. On the 22nd of April 1990, Orkar and a group of his fellow military officers, including some ex-servicemen, staged a violent coup to remove Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida from office. But after more than 12 hours of violence, the coup was finally crushed by the regime. Orkar and many of his co-conspirators were arrested, tried, and executed. The Gideon Orkar coup was believed to have contributed to hasten the process of the relocation of the seat of power from Lagos to Abuja. But long before the coup was finally crushed, Orkar made the following announcement on FRCN radio in Lagos. He said, "Fellow Nigerian citizens, on behalf of the patriotic and well-meaning people of the Middle Belt and the southern part of this country, I, Major Gideon Orkar, wish to happily inform you of the successful ousting of the dictatorial, corrupt, drug baronish, evil man, deceitful, homosexually centered, prodigalistic, unpatriotic administration of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. We have equally commenced their trial for unabated corruption, mismanagement of national economy, the murder of Deligiwa, Major General Mamman Vasa, with other officers, as there was no attempted coup but mere intentions that were yet to materialize, and other human rights violations. The National Guard, already in its formative stage, is disbanded with immediate effect. Decrees number 2 and 46 are hereby abrogated. We wish to emphasize that this is not just another coup, but a well-conceived, planned and executed revolution for the marginalized, oppressed and enslaved peoples of the Middle Belt and the South, with a view to freeing ourselves and children yet unborn from eternal slavery and colonization by a clique of this country. Our history is replete with numerous and uncontrollable instances of callous and insensitive dominatory, repressive intrigues by those who think it is their birthright to dominate till eternity the political and economic privileges of this great country to the exclusion of the people of the Middle Belt and the South. They have almost succeeded in subjugating the Middle Belt and making them voiceless, and now extending same to the South. It is our unflinching belief that this quest for domination, oppression, and marginalization is against the wish of God and therefore must be resisted with a vehemence. Anything that has a beginning must have an end. It will also suffice here to state that all Nigerians without skeleton in their cupboard need not be afraid of this change. However, those with skeleton in their cupboards have all reasons to fear, because the time of reckoning has come. For the avoidance of doubt, we wish to state the 3 primary reasons why we have decided to oust the satanic Babangida administration. The reasons are as follows. A. To stop Babangida's desire to cunningly install himself as Nigeria's life president at all costs, and by so doing retard the progress of this country for life. In order to be able to achieve these undesirable goals of his, he has evidently started to destroy those groups and sections he perceived as being able to question his desires. Examples of groups already neutralized, pitched against one another, or completely destroyed are 1. The Sokoto Caliphate, by installing an unwanted sultan to cause division within the hitherto strong Sokoto Caliphate. 2. The destruction of the people of Plateau State, especially the Langtang people, as a balancing force in the body politics of this country. 3. The buying of the praise by generous monetary favors and the usage of State Security Services (SSS) as a tool of terror. 4. The intent to cow the students by the promulgation of the draconian Decree No. 47. 5. The cowing of the university teaching and non-teaching staff by an intended massive push using the $150 million loan as a necessitating factor. 6. Deliberately withholding funds to the armed forces to make them ineffective and also crowning his diabolical scheme through the intended retrenchment of more than half of the members of the armed forces. Other pointers that give credence to his desire to become a live president against the wishes of the people are 1. His appointment of himself as Minister of Defense, his putting under his direct control the SSS, his deliberate manipulation of the transition program, his introduction of inconceivable, unrealistic, and impossible political options, his recent fraternization with other African leaders that have installed themselves as live president, and his dogged determination to create a secret force called the National Guard, independent of the armed forces and the police, which will be answerable to himself alone, both operationally and administratively. It is our strong view that this kind of dictatorial desires of Babangida is unacceptable to Nigerians of the 1990s and therefore must be resisted by all. Orkar continued, another major reason for the change is the need to stop intrigues, domination and internal colonization of the Nigerian state by the so-called chosen few. This, in our view, has been and is still responsible for 90% of the problems of Nigerians. This indeed has been the major clog in our wheel of progress. This clique has an unabated penchant for domination, an unrivaled fostering of mediocrity, and outright detest for accountability. All put together have been our undoing as a nation. This will ever remain our threat if not checked immediately. It is strongly believed that without the intrigues perpetrated by this clique and misrule, Nigeria would have in all ways achieved developmental virtues comparable to those in Korea, Taiwan, Brazil, India, and even Japan. Evidence, therefore, this cancerous dominance has a factor constituted by a major unpardonable clog in the wheel of progress of the Nigerian state. It is suffice to mention a few distasteful intrigues engineered by this group of Nigerians in recent past. These are 1. The shabby and dishonorable treatment meted on the longest-serving Nigerian general in the person of General Domkad Bali, who in actual fact had given credibility to the Babangida administration. 2. The wholesale hijacking of Babangida's administration by the all-powerful clique. 3. The disgraceful and inexplicable removal of Commodore Ibitu Ukiwe, Professor Tam David West, Mr. Arrett Adams, and so on from office. 4. The new pervasive and ongoing retrenchment of Middle Belt and Southerners from public offices and their instant replacement by the favored class and their stooges. 5. The deliberate disruption of the educational culture and retarding its place to suit the favored class to the detriment of other educationally minded parts of this country. 6. The deliberate impoverishment of the people from the Middle Belt and the South, making them walking ghosts and feeding on the formula of 011 or 000, while the aristocratic class and their stooges are living in absolute affluence on a daily basis without working for it. 7. Other countless examples of the exploitative, oppressive, dirty games of intrigues of each class were people and stooges that can best be described by the fact that even though they contribute very little economically to the well-being of Nigeria, they have over the years served and presided over the supposedly national wealth derived in the main from the Middle Belt and the southern part of this country, while the people from this part of the country have been completely deprived from benefiting from the resources given to them by God. Major Gideon Orkar went on to state, "The third reason for the change is the need to lay a strong egalitarian foundation for the real democratic takeoff of the Nigerian state or states as the circumstances may dictate." Orkar went on to make the one single decision that was believed to have contributed majorly to the failure of the coup. According to him, in the light of all the above, and in recognition of the negativeness of the aforementioned aristocratic factor, the overall progress of the Nigerian state, a temporary decision to excise the following states, namely Sokoto, Borno, Katsina, Kano and Bauchi state from the Federal Republic of Nigeria comes into effect immediately until the following conditions are met. The conditions to be met to necessitate the reabsorption of the aforementioned states are as follows. 1. To install the rightful heir to the Sultanate, Alhaji Masidu, who is the people's choice. 2. To send a delegation led by the real and recognized Sultan, Alhaji Masidu, to the federal government to vouch that the feudalistic and aristocratic quest for domination and oppression will be a thing of the past and will never be practiced in any part of the Nigerian state. By the same token, all citizens of the 5 states already mentioned are temporarily suspended from all public and private offices in Middle Belt and southern part of this country until the mentioned conditions above are met. They are also required to move back to their various states within 1 week from today. They will, however, be allowed to return and join the Federal Republic of Nigeria when the stipulated conditions are met. In the same vein, all citizens of the Middle Belt and the South are required to come back to their various states pending when the so-called all-in-all Nigerians meet the conditions that will ensure a united Nigeria. A word is enough for the wise. This exercise will not be complete without purging corrupt public officials and recovering their ill-gotten wealth since the days of the oil boom till today. Even in these hard times, when Nigerians are dying from hunger, trekking many miles to work for lack of transportation, a few other Nigerians with complete impunity are living in unbelievable affluence both inside and outside the country. We are extremely determined to recover all ill-gotten wealth back to the public treasury for the use of the masses of our people. You are all advised to remain calm as there is no cause for alarm. We are fully in control of the situation as directed by God. All airports, seaports, and borders are closed forthwith. The former Armed Forces Ruling Council is now disbanded and replaced with National Ruling Council to be chaired by the head of state, with other members being the civilian vice head of state, service chiefs, inspector general of police, one representative each from NLC, NUJ, NBA, and the NANS. A curfew is hereby imposed from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. until further notice. All members of the armed forces and the police force are hereby confined to their respective barracks. All unlawful and criminal acts by those attempting to cause chaos will be ruthlessly crushed. Be warned, as we are prepared at all costs to defend the new order. All radio stations are hereby advised to hook on permanently to the National Network Program until further notice. Long live all true patriots of this great country of ours. May God and Allah, through His bountiful mercies, bless us all. This coup speech was delivered by Major Gideon Orkar in the early hours of April 22, 1990. But more than 12 hours later, the coup was crushed. Orkar was arrested along with some of his co-conspirators, tried and executed. For more details about this coup, please click the video displayed here. And don't forget to book the like button on this video and subscribe to Hispo Media to go a long way to support our effort. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.